Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to design a model rocket nose cone. And if you're in my class, if time permits, we will 3D print these guys and we will go out and launch them. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Come on up here and we're going to create a sketch here on the XY plane. So to make our nose cone, we're going to use a center revolve. So imagine we could slice our nose cone in half and we could draw half of it. What would it look like? What would that cut out exposed portion look like? So we're going to come up here to a line tool and I'm going to zoom in a bit here and I'm going to draw out a line here that's about 0.45 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to draw out another line and something like this. I'm not going to go straight up. I'm going to just kind of angle a little bit because when we push our nose cone into the cardboard tube, we want a good press fit. We want it to seal nicely. So I'm going to kind of taper this line here so it's at an angle, and I want the height here. Well, we'll just dimension it later. So let's come on over here to dimension, and we want this distance here to be 0.5. Okay, and then this distance from here to here, we want that to be 0.03. All right, so the next thing we want to do is create a line here that's perfectly horizontal. So I'm going to find this point here, and I don't want it to be perpendicular. See that perpendicular pops up? I don't want that. So see how that horizontal constraint pops up? I want that, and I want that distance to be 0.05. Enter. Oh, and it added this perpendicular constraint, thinking that's what we want, and we don't want that. So I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to come on over here, and I'm going to make sure this guy, this guy right here is parallel to that guy. There we go. Okay, and the distance is 0.05. All right. All right, so now let's go ahead and make the top of our rocket nose cone. And to do that, we're going to use a 3-point arc. So we're going to come over here to arc, and we're going to select 3-point arc. Okay, I'm going to click where I want to start my arc, and I'm going to use my mouse, and I'm going to click, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to kind of click up here where I want to end my arc. And then I'm going to use my mouse here to sort of adjust the radius. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here to dimension, and I want this distance from here to here. I want that distance to be roughly 0.08. Okay, and then from this distance to this distance, I want it to be 2.5. Select enter, and then for my radius here of my arc, I want that to be 7.87. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and now I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to move my mouse down here and just slowly move my mouse up and there, and then I'm going to create my final line and just close my loop here. Okay, looking good. Our profile is finished. We can revolve now, so let's go ahead and finish sketch. Okay, we're going to come over here to revolve. We're going to select our axis, and there we go. Select OK. Looking pretty smooth. And I'm going to put a fillet up here just to give our rocket a little bit more aerodynamic, and we're going to make that 0.1 there. Okay, and I'm going to select OK. And I don't recommend making a super fine, if you're going to 3D print these, I don't recommend making a super fine point tip on your nose cone because I've 3D printed these before and they don't come out with a super sharp tip. So I would kind of round off the tip if you can. Okay. All right, the next thing we're going to do really quick is just add a little fillet here. That's about right there, and it's going to be really small, 0.02. Okay. Select OK. All right, the next thing we want to do now is go ahead and shell or hollow out this guy. So we're going to click there, and we are going to set that distance to 0.06 inches. Go ahead and select OK. All right, next thing we're going to do is go ahead and start a sketch here on this surface. And I'm going to kind of hollow this portion out so we can tie our parachute to it, to our nose cone. So I'm going to make a circle here with a diameter of 0.75 inches. Hit enter, finish sketch. Okay, and then we're going to extrude it out here. I'm going to click here, and we're going to go up and cut a distance of -1 inches, and we're going to just taper a little bit with a -3 taper. Hit OK. All right, and if you'll see something, it should look something like that. All right, and then I'm going to add a fillet here. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when you go to push your parachute string in here, okay, I'm going to put a 0.25 fillet on there. Let's see here. Maybe something a little more, 0.35. That's too much. Okay, 0.3, because when we push our string in here, this rounded surface will help guide our string so that we can tie it to this, our next feature we're going to make here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select OK. So when you're done, you should sort of have this rounded feature in here, okay, which will help you tie your parachute in later. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to origin and we're going to look at our planes here, and that's the plane we want. So we're going to start a sketch on our XY plane right here, and I'm going to slice graphics. Okay, and I am going to project some geometry here. And we'll project that guy. Okay, and we'll hit OK. I'm going to grab my line tool and I'm just going to draw this bar that goes across here. So I'm going to, let's see here, that's not showing up. So let's go to create. Let's project again. Let's select body this time. There we go, and select OK. Now let's try drawing it again, see if something shows up here. You know what, it doesn't, but that's okay. I'm just going to come here, drag out a square, something that looks like this. Okay, so we had this square basically that we drew. Okay, and I'm going to dimension this to be 0.1 in height. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and finish my sketch now. Okay, I'm going to extrude this guy, and we're going to go a distance of symmetrical here, both ways, a distance of, let's see here, 0.15. And we don't want to cut, we want to join. So we're going to select OK. And there we go. Okay, now this is, what is this feature? Well, we're going to use this to attach our parachute to later on. Okay, so when we go to launch it, our nose cone should be attached to the parachute. All right, and you have this, remember, you have this nice rounded feature to help you later. Okay, the next thing we're going to add are just for some structural integrity here. We're just, and maybe 3D print a little bit better. We're going to just add some small corner fillets there with a distance of 0.05. Okay, so and select OK. Okay, so we got something like that. All right, and remember, if you're 3D printing these, okay, you don't want this down here to have a very tight fit in your cardboard tube, because when you launch this thing, you don't want there to be resistance, because eventually this nose cone is going to pop off of our cardboard tube, and if it's secured tightly in our cardboard tube, it's not going to deploy our parachute correctly. So as always, it's always good practice to come on up here and let's give it a physical material, and you can print these out of ABS or PLA, but the closest thing Fusion 360 has to PLA is probably ABS as far as 3D printing goes. So we're going to come over here to plastic. I'm going to drag it over here, select close, okay, and then I am going to give it a color, give it whatever color you would like. Okay, so I'm going to go down to paint and just go glossy, and we'll give it a nice cool red color. And if you don't like it, you can always come up here and edit it and make it blue, orange, whatever you like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stick with red. Okay, all right, and that'll do it for the nose cone. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.